He kicked her out into the storm while carrying his child, but destiny had other plans. When she rose as the wife of a billionaire CEO, the same man who broke her now crawls for mercy. Watch till the end, you won't believe the final twist. Subscribe now for more heart-stopping English-dubbed stories of love, revenge, and redemption. The night he threw me out still burns in my memory, cold rain lashing against my trembling body, the echo of his voice slicing through my heart like glass. "You're nothing to me, Leah," Ryan spat, eyes filled with disgust. "And that baby? It's not even mine." I stood there, soaked, clutching the small swell of my stomach, the life inside me fluttering for the first time. As he shut the door of the house I had turned into a home, my heart screamed, but my lips stayed silent. I watched the taillights of his car fade into the darkness, carrying with them 3 years of love, trust, and every dream I'd built. I had nothing, no money, no family, nowhere to go. My parents had died years ago, leaving me with only memories and the necklace my mother had pressed into my hand, whispering that one day it would protect me. That night, I sat at the bus stop, rain dripping from my hair, clutching that necklace like it could save me, whispering to the child in my womb that I would never let him suffer the way I was suffering now. Fate, it seemed, heard my vow, because that was the night Ethan Grayson entered my life, or rather, crashed into it, literally. His black Rolls-Royce skidded to a halt inches from me. When he stepped out, the world seemed to still. Tall, sharp-featured, eyes cold as the rain, yet somehow kind. "You look like you need help," he said simply, and though I didn't know it then, that was the moment everything changed. Ethan took me to the hospital when I fainted. When I woke up, I found him sitting quietly beside me, reading through my medical file with an expression that was both curious and unreadable. "You're pregnant," he said softly, and when I nodded, his jaw tightened as if something about that truth stirred a memory he'd buried deep. He didn't ask more. Instead, he offered me something I couldn't comprehend: a safe place to stay, a job at his mansion as a caretaker for his grandmother, who had fallen ill. I wanted to refuse, pride clawing inside me, but when I felt the baby kick, I accepted. Days turned into weeks, and the mansion slowly became my sanctuary. Ethan was distant, always buried in work, yet he would appear at the most unexpected times. A warm blanket when I fell asleep on the couch, a silent umbrella over me during my evening walks. I began to notice things: the way his gaze softened when he saw my belly, the way his hand lingered protectively when I stumbled. One night, his grandmother called me into her room and took my hand. "He hasn't smiled in years," she whispered, "since the accident that took his wife and unborn child." My breath caught. The pain in Ethan's eyes suddenly made sense. He had lost everything, just as I had. When my baby, Aiden, was born, Ethan was the one waiting outside the delivery room. He held my trembling hand, whispering, "You're not alone anymore." That night, as I looked at my sleeping son, I realized I had fallen in love again, but this time it was different. It wasn't a burning, consuming fire like with Ryan. It was steady, safe, and real. Months passed, and Ethan asked me to marry him, not out of pity, but out of love. "You and Aiden are my family now," he said. I thought my pain was finally over, but fate, once again, had other plans. 2 years later, during a business gala, I saw a face I never thought I'd see again: Ryan. His expression twisted when he saw me, standing beside Ethan in a designer gown, diamond ring glittering on my finger, reporters calling me Mrs. Grayson. His company had gone bankrupt. The mistress he'd chosen over me had run away with his money. Desperation clung to him like sweat. "Leah, I made a mistake," he said, cornering me in the corridor. "I know the truth now. That child was mine, wasn't he? Please take me back." I laughed, not out of joy, but disbelief. The man who had thrown me into the streets was now begging in a suit that no longer fit. I wanted to tell him how much I'd cried for him, how I'd prayed for him to come back once, but all I felt now was peace. Before I could speak, Ethan appeared beside me, calm and powerful. "You heard my wife," he said icily. "She's not yours to beg from." Ryan's eyes widened. "Wife?" He turned pale, realizing who Ethan was, the youngest billionaire CEO in the country, the one who had recently acquired Ryan's collapsed company. You ruined me," Ryan shouted, but Ethan only smiled. "No," he said, "your greed did." He took my hand, and we walked away. I thought that was the end, but it was only the beginning of the storm. Weeks later, I began receiving anonymous letters, photographs of me and Aiden, a note that said, "You'll pay for leaving me." Ethan increased security, but one night, someone broke into the mansion. I woke to smoke and screams. The nursery was on fire. My heart nearly stopped as I rushed inside. But before I could reach Aiden, a hand pulled me back. Ethan. He wrapped me in his arms, shielding me from falling debris, shouting for the guards. The next morning, police found evidence, Ryan's fingerprints on a can of gasoline. He was arrested, but I couldn't shake the chill that someone else was behind it, someone far more dangerous. During the trial, an investigator brought something shocking, financial records linking Ryan's downfall to a company Ethan had secretly been monitoring. That company was owned by Ethan's stepbrother, Lucas Grayson, the very man who had caused the car accident that killed Ethan's first wife. Lucas had been hiding for years, plotting revenge, and Ryan had unknowingly become his pawn. When Lucas realized I was now Ethan's wife, he targeted me to destroy Ethan emotionally. The fire, the letters, all orchestrated by him. One evening, Lucas appeared at our home, holding Aiden at knife point. My blood turned to ice. "You took everything from me, Ethan," he hissed. "Now I'll take what's yours." Ethan froze, eyes full of fear for the first time I'd known him. I stepped forward, voice shaking. "Let him go, Lucas. He's just a child." Lucas sneered. So was I when they took everything from me. But before he could move, Aiden spoke in his tiny voice. "Daddy, don't cry." Something broke in Lucas. His grip faltered just enough for Ethan to tackle him. The knife fell, and in the struggle, Lucas was wounded. As police dragged him away, I held Aiden tightly, tears of relief pouring down my face. Ethan collapsed beside us, whispering, "You saved me again." In the days that followed, the media exploded with headlines, "Billionaire CEO and wife survive mansion attack, family betrayal exposed." Ryan, from prison, sent me a final letter, a confession. He admitted Lucas had promised him wealth if he helped ruin Ethan, and that the paternity test he once showed me, the one that said Ryan wasn't Aiden's father, had been falsified. My breath caught as I read the last line. "Forgive me, Leah. I see now. That child was truly mine." I sat for hours, staring at the sleeping face of my son. Ethan came and knelt beside me. "You don't have to tell him," he said quietly. "To me, he'll always be my son." But I knew the truth had to live somewhere, even if not now. I kissed Ethan and whispered, "One day he'll know he was loved by two men, one who lost everything and one who gave him everything." Years passed. Aiden grew strong, bright, kind, the perfect mix of innocence and courage. Ethan and I built not just a business empire, but a foundation to help single mothers and orphaned children. Every time I saw a woman standing alone in the rain outside the foundation gates, I saw my past self, and I made sure she never had to feel that pain again. Sometimes, late at night, I would walk into Aiden's room, watch him sleep, and think of all the storms that had led us here. Betrayal, heartbreak, revenge, and finally redemption. I realized that life isn't about avoiding storms, it's about learning to dance in the rain. But fate, as always, wasn't quite finished. On the eve of our 10th anniversary, a lawyer arrived at the mansion with a small box. "This was found in Ryan Walker's personal effects," he said. Inside was the necklace my mother had given me, the one I thought I'd lost years ago. Attached was a note. "I found this the night I threw you out. It haunted me every day since. I never deserved you, but I hope this finds its way home. Tell our son I'm sorry." Tears blurred my vision as I held the necklace again. the same one that had led me to Ethan that night long ago. I realized then that maybe destiny wasn't cruel after all. It simply knew the path I needed to walk to find my strength. I looked out the window at the life I'd built, my husband, my son, the mansion filled with laughter, and whispered to the wind, "Thank you for the pain that made me who I am." Because I was no longer the woman who had been kicked out while pregnant. I was Leah Grayson, wife to a man who taught me what real love means, mother to a boy who gave me purpose, survivor of betrayal and rebirth. And as the world outside turned beneath the city lights, I knew one truth above all. Sometimes the people who break us are only paving the way for the ones meant to heal us.